Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Got another Cyber Dragon video for you guys today, and today I think is going to be either our last one or our second to last one before YCS. So I'm bringing you guys this video to show you that I have pretty much finalized my build for my Fiendsmith Cyber Dragon deck, or as one of my viewers called it, my Smith deck, which I think I'm stealing that. It took some tweaking. We had a great stream Tuesday night, 5 hours just bouncing ideas off of the entire community. You guys were fantastic. And between that and the following day and some opinions from some other people I know who are more competitive players, this is what we've come up with. Some of it's a little weird. Some of it's a little weird even to me, but we're going to talk about it, talk about the ratios, talk about why we're running certain things. And then we're going to go jump into some footage from some games that I recorded, showing you how this deck can play through certain cards like Droll, Nibiru, multiple interruptions, and what actually happens when the deck goes completely off and actually doesn't get stopped. For anybody that hasn't seen the rest of this series, some people have given me some backlash about combining Cyber Dragons with another archetype. The Fiendsmith archetype is a secondary engine for us, but it's more than anything, it's a giant bait. The Fiendsmith engine is so powerful that your opponent has to deal with it. So especially considering this is ideally a going first deck, but I kind of want it to have enough flexibility to do both. Your opponent has to use their hand traps on Fiendsmith because you get access to either High King Caesar, which that card is stupid now that I've got to try it out, or Desiree, depending on your situation. And setting up your graveyard for more recursion. Like the engine is nuts. The engine is way better than I thought it was going to be. And once your opponent has to waste their outs on that, guess what? Cyber Dragon gets to go unopposed and do what it needs to. And in this build, we have 11 starters instead of 12. We can potentially have 12 starters, but we need one of them to get a full combo into multiple interruptions and a bunch of pluses just to make it to our turn 2 and just nuke our opponent. So I'm going to explain it all, and then we're going to go jump into that footage. So again, if you guys like this kind of content, drop a like, subscribe, check out the rest of the series, and let's talk about it. All right, so talking about the build straight from the get-go. So we have the staples for Cyber Dragon. I'm actually going to reorganize this real quick so I could talk about the different engines. All right, so I've organized the deck by engine. Starting off with the first row, those are our starters. 11 starters. You can play 12 by playing an extra claw. I've heard people ask how claw is a starter. If you guys don't know the Cyber Dragon lines that I use, I have a video in this series called Taking Cyber Dragon to YCS, where I go over the 2 main combo lines that this deck can do off of these starters. One combo line for if you start off with Cyber Emergency or Core, and one where you start off with just Claw or just Realm, which allows you to be more flexible with the entire rest of your hand. You open up a Core and a Realm and you're basically golden. Anyway, after that we have Naxter and Hertz as part of the biggest downside of the Cyber Dragon engine is that it's huge, but it gives us a lot of flexibility because a lot of these cards synergize very, very well together. Naxter, believe it or not, is our way to play around Droll. By letting us special summon from the grave without having to add any extra cards to hand, it gives us a lot of flexibility that we normally wouldn't have. It also gets us back some of our 2100 attack point monsters, 2100 defense point monsters, which we have a lot of now. Jormungandr, Worm, Chimera, Infinity, Nova, Rampage. Naxter has more targets than ever. So even though out of one of Naxter is the strongest it's ever been. Hertz. This is a point of contention for a lot of us. I want to run this at 1. I really do. But there's one big issue. Well, Hertz is great for us to recycle our cyber cards. We don't want to cut too many light machines out of the deck because a lot of our combos use a lot of light machines. And because, unfortunately, the Cyber Dark variant of the combo, where you start off with Claw or Realm, hinges on having Hertz in deck. If you do not have Hertz in deck, you cannot do the combo. And unfortunately, that blows. Because you end up making a copy of Rampage with Power Bond, and if you do not have a Hertz to dump, you can't get back Core and you can't continue the combo. It sucks. It's one of the biggest holes in that combo, but that's the reason we're running 2 Hertz. Other than that, Hertz does what it does. It's good discard fodder, it's good dump fodder, it recycles our pieces, so we always have something to do. It's a good card. It's just it can be a brick in your hand. But thankfully, the way I built the deck, we have many discard outlets, which are good ways for us to get rid of the card. Regulus. I was a big one on not playing Regulus in the main, simply because it's an Earth machine that we can't search, besides playing Therion cards, so it clashes with the engine. But now, this thing is fuego in this deck, because we have Clockwork Knight. So we were already playing Clockwork Knight the spell, but now that we have Clockwork Knight the monster, oh my god, the combo is great. You can link into Clockwork Knight with any of our machine monsters that have 1,000 less attack, which is, you know, all of them. Clockwork Knight gets rid of a continuous spell, where we main a continuous spell, searches Clockwork Knight, and then you can actually tribute any machine monster to summon a machine monster with 1,000 less attack from the drop, which gets us back into Chimera, gets us into Core, gets us into Naxter, gets us into anything we fucking want. And excuse my language. And then we could dump the Clockwork Knight for our Chimera's effect to search Powerbomb, turn that on, which then we can discard any other card in our hand to then search Therion King Regulus. Like, it flows together so well, and it basically makes Therion King Regulus always a threat, which is what I wanted and why we're definitely running this little package. And with literally a 2-card package, come on. We have to play OG Cyber Dragon between Hertz, Naxter, and especially we are playing Jormungandr. We wanted to make sure we have at least one OG Cyber Dragon. Jormungandr is probably the worst card in the Cyber Dragon archetype right now, but it has great uses once you figure out how to really use it. First off, going second into an automatic infinity, your opponent has to respond to it. It sucks, but like it's a waste of a negate or a hand trap or a destruction effect. Going first and sometimes going second, you can bounce a Cyber Dragon to get a polymerization. I know that normally sounds bad, but we're playing Fusion Substitute. The only downside to Fusion Substitute is that you have to have the materials on the board, which, again, go watch my combo videos. I show you in both combos how we circumvent that. But this also turns into a potential plus because it replaces itself and sends your fusions back to your deck to be able to reuse. The other thing that I love about Jormungandr, and I'm mad at myself for not saving the footage, he is our out to Bestials. If we get Bestialed, our opponent summons a monster to their board during our first turn. We can then use Jormungandr. I didn't even think about it until the situation came up, but I especially since most Bestials get summoned in attack mode, guess what? We make Infinity, we just eat it. It was crazy. I was just like, why did I never think of that? So don't sleep on Jormungandr. I'm playing it as a one-of because, again, this is more of a going first deck, and this is a card we want in the deck because we're going to pull it out of the deck. But we also love to search this guy going second. Worm. God, this card is so close to being nuts. And if you guys are Cyber players, you already know it's because they made him once per duel. A lot of our combos involve Worm because it's such a good card. And then, of course, the Chimera package. Chimera, Cyber Dark Chimera, Power Bond. We have multiple cards we want to discard now. Getting Power Bond, it feels great. We have ways around our own combos should we get stuck with it in our hand, but Chimera being a bridge into Worm, Worm being a bridge into everything else, it just, the deck can do things. It's just, we got to use our brains and change up our imagination to really go for it. I already talked about Clockwork Knight, we have our fusion spells. I've been told to take out Cyberload Fusion because it is a brick. That depends. It's only a brick if you see no cyber cards. Cyberload Fusion has become one of our most important cards because besides the fact that it's a combo extender in a lot of situations, it's back road removal because of Rampage. It's also a way to play around Nib. I have an example. I did save that footage. I have an example of it showing it where if I already have, say I already have Core and Realm, Cyberload Fusion is going to be my search target. Because if I get nibbed and don't have a way to deal with Nib, I can continue to play and still build up a pretty great board because of Cyberload Fusion. Again, I will show you guys that footage in a minute. We got our hand traps, 3 Ash, 2 Droll. I was doing 3 and 3. I cut Droll to make space. As you see, this deck is still at 42. At one point I had it at 44, but I was just like, I need to cut a few cards out. And as much as I didn't want to cut Droll, I ended up cutting Droll. Ash just has too many targets. Too many cards that can summon from deck, too many cards that can add to hand. It's just, there's a lot. We have the holy trinity of hand trap dealers, deal-withs, I guess. Talents, now limited to 1. If your opponent activates a monster effect, draw 2, rip a card out of their hand, or take control of your opponent's monsters. Call by the Grave and Designator. I ended up having to play these cards because, unfortunately, The biggest problem with this deck is that it damn near completely dies to Droll. There are ways to play through Droll, but we cannot make anywhere near as good a field through Droll, and if we can just cross out Droll, we can basically get our whole turn off. Every other hand trap in the game, some of them suck, but we can at least do something to them. Droll, depending on where we get Drolled, it can shut us down so hard, and I don't want to deal with that if I can avoid it. I decided to go with droplets. I was also running droplets at 3. Like I said, we're at 44. Droplets, some decks it's not good against, not gonna lie. But the reason I decided to still run it, A, I like it going first and second. And if anybody's heard me talk about Yu-Gi-Oh, about card games in general, I like cards that are good going first and second. Depending on what you discard, it can't be responded to. That's actually fire. We have a lot of cards that we want to discard. Cards with effects in the graveyard, like Fusion Substitute. We hate to see it early. It is what it is, especially if we don't have the materials to get on the board. We can still pitch it with Droplet and draw off of it later. Clockwork Knight, we ditched that. We could search the Iron King Regulus. Hurts, we can get a Cyber Dragon or one of our babies from the grave. Fiendsmith, we have a Lori. Cool, now we have a discard outlet for Lori. Just things like that. Impermanence, still my favorite hand trap / trap in the game. Still really, really useful and a lot of flexibility. And then we have the Fiendsmith engine. My favorite thing about this engine is it's small. I was playing 3 engravers. I knocked it down to 2, again, space. And because I added a Fiendsmith in Paradise, I slept on this card. I could see the why we play it, but I could also see myself taking it out for a 3rd engraver. Regardless, engraver, Lurie, tracked, Lacrima, this is the Fiendsmith engine. I'm not going to go over the combo because the first gameplay of this video, when we jump into the gameplay, has the full Fiendsmith combo right there, or at least one of the 2 variants. One variant ends on King Caesar, one ends on Desiree. Super easy to make both of them. Then we have our extra deck. Obviously, we have our contact fusion targets. We have Fiendsmith Desiree. Heal Sorog is actually great in this deck now because it actually, like, it's another negate and it gets us Power Bond back to set us up to kill our opponent on our turn 2 going first. Necrocrypt Princess is part of the High King Caesar combo. Double Rampage, we actually need double Rampage. We're only playing 1 Nova, 1 Infinity. That's all we ever really need. It's very rare that you will summon another Nova and another Infinity from the extra deck. You will usually just summon them back from the graveyard. And then we have our Link monsters, SP Little Knight, generic, great, another form of interruption. Our Fiendsmith cards. Moonchild of the Closed Heaven is freaking crazy because it can allow us to turn our Cyber Dragon engine into our Fiendsmith engine if we ever needed to. And then of course we have our side deck, Lancias for Banished decks and Malice, Fulos to side in when we're going second. I tried Fulos in the main, I know, dice roll, but I went first and got stuck with Fulos in my hand. I hated it. This is something else I didn't know about. I like just a cycle reader. Quick effect, you can discard this card to the graveyard, then target 2 light monsters in your opponent's graveyard and banish those targets. Up to 2. Gives us an out to way to deal with blue eyes. And we can also banish Detonator. So any deck that has, or the mirror match where we're playing against Fiendsmith, like this is actually a good card because Fiendsmith is going to be everywhere. Lightning Storm, you know, gotta love the alt art. 2 Lightning Storms and Harpies for back row decks, and if we're going second. Tactics, again, Tactics is just gonna get sided in whether we're going first or second because we're playing, our last 2 cards are Artifact Sanctum and Dimensional Barrier. We're playing both of them at 1 because it can be searched by Tactics. If we get hand trapped, we can just set it and potentially shut our opponent's turn down. If they're a banished deck, we can Artifact Sanctum into Lancia, Dimensional Barrier for any extra deck heavy decks. Minus links, but you get the point. So this is the build we're going with. I already ordered all the cards. I got a couple here and there, like I already have 3 engravers, so if I need to swap it out later, if I'm feeling like it's not consistent enough, then we can. But enough from talking about the deck build, let's go look at the gameplay real quick. Alright, so I'm gonna try and talk about what's happening here as fast as I can, because this is short 5-minute games. It's 3 games all tied together because I used the replay function of the game so you can also see what our opponent plays. This first one, as you can see, our opponent has no hand traps and they're playing, you know, a less competitive deck with Ancient Gears, but I wanted to show you what the full Fiendsmith Cyber Dragon combo looks like, because as you see, we have Fiendsmith engine in hand and we have one of our 11 starters, and that's all we need to make a full board. So check it out. And then you get to see how oppressive the board is too, because our opponent's basically not able to play. So we ditch engraver, grab tracked, grab another engraver just to ditch Lurie, because we already had Lurie in hand. Lurie for for Requiem, Requiem for Lacrima. Lacrima is going to dump Fiendsmith in Paradise. So the cool thing about that is you don't need to ditch Paradise. That is just the perfect, that's what you want to discard if you don't already have an engraver. If you already have an engraver and drop, you ditch the Paradise. If you don't, you can ditch the engraver from deck. I know we added it here, but we would have ditched it. And then you can supposed to be able to get your full combo. So now we use Requiem's effect from the grave, attach it to Lacrima, fuse them. Yeah, I think it's interesting the way they fuse. It's a monster equipped to another monster and a fiend monster, and bam, we have Necroquip Princess, which is a level 6. Then Lacrima Engraver's effect, sending back Lurie, summoning Engraver. Sorry, trying to talk fast. And then we have High King Caesar. For anybody that doesn't know what High King Caesar does, if your opponent activates a spell, trap, or effect that would summon a monster, you can attach a material and negate it and destroy it. That's not once per turn, which is crazy. But you get that. You want to get him out first because he's able to block Nibiru. So now we go into our full Cyber Dragon combo. For anybody that hasn't seen the combo video, you'll get the full Cyber side of the combo right here. So Emergency for Core, Core for Realm, Realm for Chimera, Summon Chimera. So this is something I refined in the combo. For anybody that's seen the original combo video, I will tell you in the later half of the combo I get a little sloppy, but we still on the same end board. Ugh. So you link the Chimera for the Clockwork Knight because both of their effects go off at once, so you can chain block the way you want. So Chimera is going to dump a monster, Clockwork Knight's going to get rid of the continuous spell to search Clockwork Knight. So say you already have say you already have Worm in hand, but you need the spell card. You can chain link one Knight to Chimera, so if they try to Ash, they have to Ash the Chimera. Or vice versa, say you already have a spell or trap in hand and you need the Worm, you can do Chimera first. So here we use Chimera first. We use Knight first and then Chimera. Chimera goes off first, dumping the Worm. Knight goes off, adding Clockwork Knight. And now we use Clockwork Knight's second effect, tributing a monster to summon a machine monster with 1,000 less attack for Chimera. Chimera dumps Knight to get us Power Bond. So now Power Bond is live. And then we use Worm's effect to dump Hertz to summon Worm. Hertz goes off, adding us OG Cyber Dragon. Because normally, so this is where we have to change things up because we have Jormungandr in hand. We didn't want Jormungandr in hand. We wanted him in deck to dump later. But because we have him, we're gonna use Clockwork Knight to dump Jormungandr. So we're gonna be one card less than if we had the perfect combo. Not a big deal. So we ditch Jormungandr, grab Therion King, and now we play Power Bond, getting rid of the Cyber Dragon in our hand and the Hertz. This gets the Cyber Dragon into the grave for the rest of the combo. We end up linking Chimera and Clockwork Knight for our SP Little Knight, and then we use Rampage's effect to dump 2. This is where I kind of misplayed, because before I made the Link monster, I could have actually summoned Therion King Regulus and attached OG Cyber Dragon, which is what you want to do. So that's the only thing I would have done differently. But now we special summon Nova, detach, summon Naxter, and Naxter gets us back Jormungandr. This is where I realized, oh yeah, I forgot the Therion King Regulus and I summoned it. We need to do that to use Jormungandr's effect to bounce back the equipped OG Cyber Dragon, which gets us our Fusion Substitute. Now we overlay into Infinity, Fusion Substitute into Heals Farog's effect to get us Power Bond next turn, and then Fusion Substitute to draw an extra card, and then we set the droplets. Now if you look at just our monsters, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 6 interruptions just on our monsters. High King Caesar deals with special summons. We have 2 Omni Negates, a Spell and Trap Negate, and a Banish with SP Little Knight. And then of course we have our 1 face down. And now we add the Power Bomb back on our opponent's standby phase. If you look at our hand, we can make a Rampage capable of killing our opponent with just the cards in our hand without any other searches or any other setup. So now our opponent tries to use a monster to summon. As soon as they summoned it, it gave me the prompt to use the trap card. I chose not to use it. Paradise in the Grave. And then we tried to tribute it to summon a monster. I used High King Caesar. They play this Ancient Gear spell. I negate it and destroy it with Heals Farog. They try to use this monster to summon a monster. We High King Caesar it, destroy it, and our opponent surrenders with 3 cards in hand and are unable to continue playing the game. And the cool thing is, the whole goal of this going first board is to burn out our opponent as much as possible. We don't even have to kill them, or even if they can still play, as long as they don't kill us, and we can limit the number of interactions on the crackback because we already have capability to kill them on our next turn. So now this second game, we went first, and this is me showing how we play through Nibiru. So we start off with Fiendsmith Engraver. We do the full Fiendsmith combo, and this is actually the full Fiendsmith combo without any of it in hand. So tracked searches Lurie, then dumps Lurie. Lurie summons Requiem, Requiem for Lacrima, Lacrima for Paradise. Oh, this is before I had modified the deck, so I hadn't put Paradise in yet. So we ended up dumping another Engraver. And then the whole Necro Crypt Princess, and then High King Caesar. This is before, like I said, this is before I changed up the deck. So now we should be immune to Nibiru, right? But if you look at our opponent's hand, you see they also have infinite impermanence. So we have 2 starters in hand. So we can do, regardless if one of these have gotten negated, we would have been able to keep playing. So we start off with Emergency. Emergency grabs Core. And like I said before, because we already have Realm, we're searching for Cyberload Fusion, and now you'll see why I say this helps us play through Nibiru. Realm gets us Chimera, summon Chimera, and this is where our opponent nibs us. They already impermed the High King Caesar, so now they clear our entire board. And this is where we get to do some cool guy stuff. So Chimera's effect dumps Worm. We use Worm's effect, dump Naxter, summon Worm, add back Emergency. We link the Clockwork Knight, the Worm into the Clockwork Knight, get rid of the Realm, grab us Clockwork Knight. Now, guys, the cost for Clockwork Knight's tribute effect is it has to tribute a machine. So, yeah, we're going to turn the Rock into a Robo-Rock, and we're going to tribute the Robo-Rock, which now gets us back our Chimera. Then Chimera's effect, discarding the Cyber spell that we added back to hand to get Power Bond, and now Power Bond is live. And right here is where I figured out I was going to be using the same line I would be using if I had gone into the Cyber Dark portion of the combo, which starts with Cyber Dark Realm. The only thing we're losing is 1 normal summon. So Hertz gets his OG Cyber Dragon, link it to SP Little Knight, banish Hertz, which now lets us turn on Cyberload Fusion because we already had Core banished. So remember that Cyber Dark Worm is only treated as a Cyber Dragon while it's in the grave or on the field. It banished, it's not. So we had to banish the Hertz that we sent to grave to then turn on Cyberload Fusion, and guess what? Now we have 2 level 5s. Boom. And we already put Naxter and Jormungandr in the grave. So now we detach, special summon Naxter. Naxter effect, bring back the Jormungandr, overlay into, well, bounce first to get Fusion Substitute, overlay into Infinity. This is where things got a little weird. So normally we would go into Therion King with OG Cyber Dragon to be able to bounce the OG Cyber Dragon to then add Fusion Substitute. Like I said, the downside of Fusion Substitute is that your material has to be on the board. The Cyber Dark version of the combo, you normal summon a Core and you would bounce back the Core. But here we had to bounce back the Naxter. But remember that Naxter can special summon itself. And since we added the OG Cyber Dragon with the Hertz, we have the discard fodder. We attach the Nibiru as a material with Infinity's effect. And we summon Heals for Rog. Now we get our Power Bond back. And now we send back Chimera to draw a card. We want to send the Chimera back because we use both of our Chimeras. So now by sending one back, we can then fuse into it on our following turn, and we're gonna get Power Bond back. We had the Cyber Trap face down because remember this is before I changed it. We had the Cybernetic Overflow in the deck, but now we get Power Bond back. We still have an Ash, and we still have 3 interruptions on the board, and technically a Floodgate with Clockwork Knight because some decks can't play under Clockwork Knight. So our opponent surrenders immediately, and we go on to the next game. And the next one, this one was a long one. This was us going second against, I think it was us going second. Yes, against a Salomon Great player. And this player played crazy good. And I'll tell you right now, we had to play through like 4 interruptions a turn. It was frustrating. And as you see in his hand, he has the Bane of My Existence in Droll and Lockbird. And we have no hand trap, so he goes completely unopposed. Like, he has a Droll and Ash 2 set, and he's still comboing off. Oh yeah, he sets up Princess. Ugh, I was like, ugh, what am I gonna do? But you just have to play and try to break it. So a lot of people said, Lurie's a brick. Lurie would be a brick if we didn't have searchable discard outlets, which we do with Naxter. Check it out. So we discard Claw, search Realm, Emergency, but see, this time we're okay to grab Naxter because Realm is a starter. So even if we waste our Emergency to grab the Naxter so that we can use Lurie, we still have Cyber Dark Realm to get us into our full combo. And again, check out the video for the Cyber Dark combo. and we can make an entire board off of that, or an entire OTK, super easy. But we get hit with the Droll here, so now those realms are dead. But if you look at our hand, all of the rest of the cards in our hand special summon from the deck. So check out what we do here. Discard Lurie for the Naxter. Lurie's effect triggers. Lurie comes out. We get Solomon Great Roared, which sucks because he destroys our entire board. So now we're going to summon Regulus. He negates it, destroys it. We go to summon Jormungandr. He negates that as well. And unfortunately, I had to pass turn. Think about it. If he had even one less interruption, we would have been able to break his board completely and continue playing. But all he's got left is an Ash. Look what happens. There's a reason I kept this game, because even though our opponent, we weren't able to completely play through our, mind you, if our opponent didn't have Droll, we would have went into Cyberdark Realm and did that whole play. But he had hit us with Droll, which sucks. He would have had to Ash the Realm, which means Jormungandr would have been live to absorb his monster. We would have been sitting on an infinity. It sucks, but Droll is a part of the game. But you saw how we had multiple ways to play through Droll, because with the Naxter and the Lurie, we could have made Moon, or we could have just did Lurie straight into the Fiendsmith combo. If he hadn't got rid of our entire board with Solomon Great Roar, we could have put Naxter and Balinx into Moon to go into Fiendsmith combo. It gives us a lot of flexible plays. But even here, he locks himself into fire monsters. He's trying to push. But he's not able to secure the kill, and that's all we need. Cyber Dragon does not need a whole lot to go off for us to be able to go nuts. And I knew that he had an Ash, but now look what he does. He draws a shitload of cards, draws and sets a card, and we draw into Tract, which is dope, because Tract is another starter for the Fiendsmith engine. So we add Engraver, ditch Engraver, Engraver special summon Engraver, sending back Lurie back to the deck. He tributes both of our monsters for Flame Princess, which sucked. We now go into Jormungandr, we get Ash, but guess what? Our realms are all live, and that's all we need to end the game. Clockwork Knight, dump. He impermanents the Clockwork Knight. We don't care because we already have Spell Engrave, so we dump the Worm. The only downside is that we cannot special summon Chimera with Clockwork Knight's effect, but we haven't played Emergency yet this turn, and Worm gets us back in Emergency. So check it out. We send Hurts with Worm's effects to add Naxter back to hand, and now we Emergency. Adding Core, so now we have discard fodder for Naxter. Summon Core to get another search, thin out the deck a little more. Discard the Jormungandr for Naxter, and because Chimera has 2100 defense, we summon back Chimera, which gets us into our Power Bond by discarding the other realm. And then Power Bond, pop his field spell. We actually decided, because our monster only had 4200, it was safer to go into Infinity. Well, we were going to go Nova, special summon a monster, then go into Infinity, because we would have been able to absorb his 5100 monster, and we would be able to run over Princess, and then we would have had complete board control, and our opponent surrendered. And we had Cyberload Fusion faced in our hand, and it was set up with a Cyber Dragon banished and a Cyber Dragon on the board, so if he decided to set anything, we could have popped it. So we were basically making it so he couldn't come back with what he had left. All right, guys, here's one more look at the deck. I tried to talk fast because I didn't want this video to be too long. It still looks like it's almost a half an hour long. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts on the deck. Let me know if you guys have tried out the build. I'm really enjoying the way the engines actually gel together pretty well. The only time they ever really clash is if we play Clockwork Knight too early, because now all our fiends are machines. If we play Naxter or Jormungandr too early, because they lock us into machines. Those are the only two cards that lock us into machines. The rest of the deck just gels. Thanks for everybody that tuned in. Thanks for all the support I've had on this series. I think I'm going to have one more Yu-Gi-Oh stream, so keep an eye out for that when I announce it. That is going to be it from me, guys. If you want to check me out on social media, links are down below, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.
See it in my eyes, I was born for this. I got demons on my side, you ain't right like this. I got reason to believe, I don't need it from my gifts. Only I can change the world, and it go like this.